This next video will show you how to shade in around some odd shapes, things where you don't have exact squares or triangles, but how to get around those little corners and circles. All right, what I'm going to show you here is how to take this shape and I'm going to shade everything below this little check mark area. So I'm going to start with this line, and I'm just going to copy this whole thing because I'm going to need it, including the restriction on it. I'm going to repaste it. You see it's in blue. So I'm just going to shade everything below it down to the left side and down to the bottom. So I'm going to change that from an equal to a less than or equal to. But now it only goes to the left. It doesn't go down. And the reason it doesn't go down is because I have this 44 as my restriction. So first of all, let's fix this and go put another restriction. We want it to stop at x equals 11. So I'm going to put in there, I'm going to go ahead and put my restriction and say x is greater than or equal to 11. So now it's confined right there into that little space. Now, if I want to continue doing this, I have my choice. I can try to manipulate this equation a little bit more to make it shade down, or I could just go, let's start at this line and shade up. This line is y equals 37. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here. So now it's green. And I'm going to put a restriction on this. I only want to do it from 11, so less than x, to this line, which is going to be 15. So I'm going to put less than or equal to 15. And now you can see that my green line only goes from 11 to 15. So I'm going to shade up at this point. So I'm going to make this y is greater than. Now it's shaded up. Now it's covering everything. So I'm going to have to make it stop at this line. Now I don't have this line anywhere, so I'm going to put the restriction in here and have it stop at y equals 40. Now to do that, when I just put in y equals 40, nothing happens because it's telling me to go to that point. I actually need to put y is less than or equal to 40. And now it's shaded in that whole area. And eventually I can go back and change the colors here in a moment, which I will do. Okay, so for the last section, I can go from any of these lines, any of these four outside lines, and it doesn't matter which one you do. I'm going to start with the bottom one because I've already got halfway done. So I'm going to do the y is greater than 37. I'm going to just copy and paste that in there. But now you see it's covering everything. So I'm going to have to put in, if I put this one in, it won't work, but I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste it, and I'm going to change it to 15 all the way to 27. Well, I guess I should have gone to 28. Well, not 228, just 28. There we go. So now it's going up, but it's going to have to stop at that line. So I'm going to go copy that line now, y equals x plus 25. And that's going to be my next restriction. But again, when I put equals, it won't work. I'm going below it, so this is going to be less than. So now I'm going to change that to less than or equal to 25, and now it's completely shaded. Now I can go up here, I can change the colors and say I want them all to be red, and there you have it. Well, there you have it. If you ever do, now I did it pretty well here, if you ever do it where you see this line or maybe another line in there that you don't want to be, then again, go and click on this and turn off the lines. Like right now, when that line's on, you can see that now that line's no longer red, it's black. As soon as I turn it off, now it's a black line, which is probably what I want it to be in the first place. The bottom one is also red. In fact, if you close in on it, you can actually see where it's kind of a dash line because I put greater than. So the way you fix that, just click on all these, turn off the lines. The only lines you need are the outside borders anyway. So there you have it. Now see that little problem there? When you scroll up, it usually goes away. So it's just it's a problem with the software. So I'm going to show you another one real quick, more of a random shape. I'm going to start, and I'm going to shade in this entire four-sided shape here. You can choose any of the lines you want to. I'm going to just choose the red. So I'm going to copy the entire red line here, bring it down here. And now I'm going to change that color so it's pretty obvious what it is. So I'm going to change it to purple. And that's just for me. Now I want to shade going this direction. I'm going to first have it stop at x equals 5. So the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and change this. It's going to shade greater than. So if I change it to greater than or equal to, well, now it goes to there. So it's because I got the restriction in there. So I'm going to change this restriction. I'm going to go ahead and make this, instead of 2.6, I'm going to make it 5 because I want it to go all the way to 5. So now I've got that taken care of. But now I have to put in some more restrictions to make it stop at both this line and this line. So I'm going to start with this line, y equals 2x minus 8. I'm just going to copy that and bring that in here and stick it in a restriction. Okay, but again, equals to, I want it to be above that line, so it's going to be greater than or equal to. Now you can see how it shades to the right, stops at this line because I put in this restriction. It stops at this line because I put in this restriction. And now I'm going to give myself a little more space. I'm going to put in one more restriction, which is going to be this line, y equals x plus 1. And again, just like before, be careful when you go type this one in, by the way. There we go. I'm going to type it in, but it can't be equals to. It's going to be below it, which means this needs to be less than or equal to. And now I've got that entire shape put in there. You can put up to 3 restrictions easily to get, if you want to do like a 4-sided shape, you just go from here. You start with this line, you put a restriction for each one of the sides, and you should get it. And now when I can go back and change everything, and they're all purple, but I can change everything to purple and have a nice, pretty shape. Now you will notice I have extra lines there. That's because I chose one of my original ones up here. You can change all these. I can take that line off. I can even take off all the lines if I want to. And I now have just a shape out there, which is kind of interesting. Not necessary, but interesting.